So much fallout. We're going to break it all down now with our entire team. We have our Chief Global Affairs anchor, Martha Raddatz, and John Cohen, who is a top intelligence counterterrorism official in the Department of Homeland Security, along with our Chief White House correspondent, Jon Karl, our Chief Legal Analyst, Dan Abrams. And Martha, let me begin with you and that statement from General McMaster, the National Security Advisor, last night. In some ways, a classic non-denial denial.
That's exactly what it sounded like to me, George. You know, a source is who you got the information from. The method is how you got it. Was it wiretap? Tapping? Was it a human being? And that's the scary part. If they figure out who it was, is that person's life in jeopardy? But the bottom line is that it can hurt us. It can put us at risk because in the future, that country may not share because they're scared it will come out. Now, again, McMaster said that Donald Trump did not reveal sources and methods, but apparently, according to the Post, he revealed enough that someone might be able to figure out who those sources are, who those methods are.
Perhaps even the location of where this plot was being hatched by ISIS. Let me bring in John Cohen for more on that right now. You served in the counterterrorism agencies. You served at Homeland Security. Talk about the level of classification we were seeing here, how sensitive this information was.
Good morning, George. We're talking about some of the most sensitive information the U.S. government has. When information like this is provided by a foreign government, it's only shared on a limited basis with people in the U.S. government. And it certainly is not shared broadly with people outside the U.S. government. So this is a major, major problem if it's in fact true.
And the additional problem, John, of the fact that it's being given to the Russians, who of course are close to Iran.
No, that's exactly right. I mean, the Russians are an adversary power. They may have tried to interfere with our election, at least according to the intelligence community. So it's somewhat mind-boggling to me that we would share this highly sensitive information, putting at risk very important relationships with our allies with the Russians.
And Dan Abrams, as the point that Cecilia made at the top, the president can do whatever he wants with classified information. It is not illegal for the president to reveal this. It would be for anyone else in the government.
Anybody else in the government. And you'd be talking about the possibility of a serious crime, depending on whether someone believed that it was intentional or not. But the president has the ability, as a legal matter, to declassify anything at any time. The way that the classification system is set up, in effect, is for the president. And so the president can then make that decision. But as you point out, anyone else, and we'd be talking about this in a very different context.
And Jon Karl, we're hearing for the first time on this from the president himself. Just in the last couple of minutes, he's been tweeting.
Yes, one tweet so far. George looks like he's in the middle of a thought, but he says, as president, I wanted to share with Russia at an openly scheduled White House meeting, which I have the absolute right to do, facts pertaining ... I assume he means facts pertaining to a plot that would affect the Russians. And that is an important point here, George, is that we do share classified information with the Russians on counterterrorism quite frequently. And if there was a plot that could also affect the Russians, there is also an obligation to share that information.
Right, and Martha, I want to bring that point to you because one of the big questions here is going to be whether the president did this deliberately or at sub-level didn't know what he was doing. Some of the people who were with the president in the meeting said that they came out thinking that nothing was amiss.
Yes, a senior official I talked to said that they did not think anything said in that meeting was wrong. But the big question is then why did someone go to the NSA? Why did someone go to the CIA to do damage control? And what the U.S. shares with Russia is often very, very limited. That's also something we have to ask about.
Lots of questions now coming from Capitol Hill. Jon Cohen, and at issue is going to be what kind of record actually exists of this meeting. Oftentimes, meetings like this are transcribed in the White House. I spoke with one White House official who said there wasn't a transcript of this meeting, simply notes.
Yeah, typically, George, in these types of meetings, there is a note taker. It'll probably be a note taker that has the language skills to be able to understand what the person meeting with the president is actually saying without having to rely on a translator. So there are notes. A transcript can be made from those notes. I'd be very surprised if there wasn't a transcript that existed of this meeting, particularly now.
And of course, members of the Congress, members of the Senate are going to demand all of any records of that meeting.